Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Hey there, everyone. What's up? Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm your host, Denise Salcedo. Happy Friday, everyone. As you all know, Fridays we got not one, but two shows to talk about here today. So today we're going to be going over WWE SmackDown and AEW Rampage. We kind of got a few items to discuss today, so I think we'll have enough for the rest of the show. We got some exciting stuff that occurred on Rampage, some exciting matchups that were announced for upcoming shows too, so we'll get into that in a hot second. We got quite a bit. We got a really good, probably the best match that we've seen all year so far on SmackDown. We got a really good SmackDown match, like the best SmackDown match we've seen all year. That's what I was trying to get at. And we had another really good match that we saw, a couple of good stuff that we saw on Rampage. So we'll get into all of that in just a hot second. But before I get started, if you guys don't follow me on Twitter, I made a little announcement today, and I kind of just want to go ahead and clarify a little bit about what my tweet was in regards to, etc. So I basically tweeted out that on February 21st, I'm going to be taking a larger role with F4W here on the YouTube channel, on the website, etc., etc. I am going to be taking a larger role, and I wanted to give you guys a couple more details since you are here. So on top of all the shows that I'm doing, I'm also going to start doing daily news videos here, or weekly news videos rather, on F4W. And I'm basically going to be like keeping you guys updated with the news, like to the moment, via video. And on top of that, I will also be doing a little bit of writing on the website. So the website, I'll probably be mainly focusing on my interviews and interviews that I do for my YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing like special articles and features on those on the website. So I'm very excited just to kind of give you guys a little bit more information on my new responsibilities and my new duties here on F4W. I got to say, I'm very, very happy. I'm very excited, and I can't wait. I hope that people like the stuff that I create, and it's going to be very fun. So that is what my new role here at F4W is going to be, on top of all my other stuff that I already do. Also, everybody, I will have probably one more announcement coming up, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. I'm not really that sure. I cannot talk about it just yet. It has nothing to do with F4W or anything else. It's totally different, but I can't say anything just yet. But just know that it's coming. And one more thing, know that it happens because of this show that I do 3 times a week here on F4W. And I'll talk about that once the actual thing happens, or hopefully happens. All right, but we'll see. Let's go ahead and get into the show, everybody. We got a couple of super chats, so I'm going to kick things off with that, and then we'll get right into SmackDown, and then we'll kind of continue on from there. Alrighty, everybody. So our first super chat of the day. Thank you so much to Cameron Mumford for sending in some love. Cameron says, quote, "Much love. The SmackDown main event is a strong reminder of how good Naomi, or a good majority of the women outside of the 4 horsewomen, are when given the opportunity. All WWE has to do is embrace it." And I cannot wait to talk about that match with Naomi and Charlotte, because like I said, we had a really great match on SmackDown today. The best match we've had all year for SmackDown, speaking specifically for SmackDown. And it was definitely Naomi and Charlotte. So thank you so much to Cameron Mumford for sending in this super chat. We also got another super chat from Eric Louise. Thank you so much to Eric, who says, "Yay, congrats on the new role, hermana." Thank you so much. I was very, very excited when this got offered to me. And, you know, I made some changes, and here we are. We're starting February 21st. I got another super chat from William Santoro Jr. Thank you so much to William. William says, "Is there a monthly membership to get our comments read? I love to comment on the AEW shows, but $10 a week is very hard to sustain. Young Bucks are amazing. As of right now, there is not. However, I will try to think of some way that I can, go ahead and like figure that all out. To be honest, usually the Dynamite shows, well, honestly, normally a lot of the times I do read non-super chat comments too. And however, when there are big shows, kind of like the Dynamite that we had this past Dynamite, when they are just too big and too much to talk about, I kind of only focus on super chats for those ones, really just because of, the bigger the shows are, the harder it is to read, non-super chat comments. But for like my normal shows, which, tend to get a little less super chats, which are the NXT shows and sometimes the SmackDown and Rampage shows, the ones that are not really so newsworthy, those tend to get a little bit less love. But thank you so much, though, regardless, for sending in the super chat. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much to William. And all right, let's go ahead and get this going, everybody, because we got quite a bit of stuff to actually talk about today. So I'm going to kick things off with SmackDown. We'll run through that because there's not too much to talk about, but we'll get into it. All right, so cry, everybody. Teardrops on our guitars because Pat McAfee was not on commentary today. He is here in Los Angeles for the Super Bowl, so he was not in New Orleans to do a SmackDown commentary. So unfortunately, he really was missed on the show. Like, I have grown to really like Pat McAfee. He's added so much life and so much personality to the broadcast team. He has really, I think, like his personality has just added so much, and it's made the show feel a little bit more cool, a little less robotic, a little less uptight, really. So it is nice to have Pat McAfee on commentary. So I really did kind of miss him today, but hey, we'll have him back next week. So that was a little bit of a bummer, but I did think it was hilarious though, because Pat McAfee was trending on Twitter, and I thought, how is it? Like, you have to be really good at your job to trend when you're not even on the show because people are missing you for not being on the show. So I guess, good for Pat McAfee. He should pat himself on the shoulder for that one. But let's go ahead and get into this because we got an interesting opening segment that played into what we ended up seeing at the closing of the show. So things kicked off with Sonya Deville, and Sonya Deville is pissed of the attack that Ronda Rousey did to her last week. So she's like, I'm going to file a petition to fine Ronda Rousey $100,000. And I just got to say, I hate these $100,000 fines. They are so unrealistic. Lower it down. Lower the fines down. I said the same thing when they fined Brock Lesnar the $100,000. I'm like, it's not realistic. Let's lower it just a tad bit. But regardless, she wants to fine Ronda Rousey for $100,000 and that Ronda Rousey is going to be suspended, effective immediately. But then Adam Pearce comes out, and turns out that Adam Pearce has a very special email for Sonya Deville. He has an email from none other than Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And what follows is a very long email from Vince, quotation marks up there. I did think it was funny, though. Pierce comes out and he says, Sonya, I know you're out in the ring and you haven't checked your email yet, so I'm going to read it for you. Basically, we find out that Vince declines Sonya Deville's request because he does not like that Sonya is using her power, using her authority to essentially, for her own selfish needs. Vince McMahon does not like that. And so Vince basically says, we're declining your request. Ronda Rousey is not being fined. Ronda Rousey is not being, suspended from the show. And Vince then says, you, Sonya, cannot lay your hands on Naomi. And if you lay your hands on Naomi at any point tonight, you will be, you will you will lose your job is basically what we got from here. So Naomi ends up confronting Sonya Deville after this and slaps her across the face. And I thought that this was hilarious. Given like a lot of the material that we've been seeing on SmackDown, not gonna lie, this is probably one of the best things that we've been seeing on the show. And I liked the incorporation of the email. I thought that that was really funny. And at least the story is finally starting to feel like it's heading somewhere. I don't think that this was the plan all along, but at least it's moving in a certain direction that I feel is going to be interesting. And we'll talk more about this because this is going to come up later on in the main event. But let's go ahead and see what we got from people saying here. We got basically people critiquing the faked piped in crowd reactions. Yeah, this has been going on now for weeks. It's something that you either just completely tune out or you just like choose to accept it. Like there really, really isn't that much of a option. AFT and TP, my friend, you just became my favorite person right now. AFT and TP says, always appreciate a recap starting with a good Swift reference. Hell yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get a couple more comments in here from people, and let's see what people are saying here. This is from Pomi Wrestling, who says, Naomi gets mistreated for 6 months and nothing happens, but the second Sonya threatens Ronda, Vince McMahon intervenes personally to stop her. This is true. It was finally brought to Vince McMahon's attention. So next time, Naomi, CC Vince McMahon and let him know how you're being treated on the SmackDown roster. So there you go. All right, let's go ahead and continue on, everybody. Let's get to after Sonya Deville and this whole thing, we got a match between Big E and Kofi Kingston versus Los Lotharios, the team of Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo. And this is basically your everyday 50-50 booking. I was literally here last week talking about how they've really kind of made Los Lotharios into a joke. We're not really supposed to take them seriously. And, they lost last week to Big E and Kofi Kingston. Like, this is a rematch. And this week, they end up winning. But this time, maybe they won because they came out with a kiss cam. That is right. Los Lotharios now have a kiss cam, and they get to kiss one lucky chica in the crowd gets a beautiful cheek-to-cheek kiss from Humberto and Angel Garza. Tell me, how do I sign up for that? Just kidding. Anyway, so they get the win. People are shocked. We get a couple of crowd reactions where people are just like, what the frick? Like, this really just happened? Honestly, it's so pointless. Like, let's say they were actually building up Los Lotharios. Let's just say that they were actually making us take them legitimate. If we saw them as a legitimate tag team, then I would have bought them actually being able to defeat Big E and Kofi. This to me was just a little funky. I mean, obviously it was like a quick pin. Cool, whatever. But it was just not believable, really. It was not believable. Alrighty, let's go ahead and continue on, everybody. Alrighty, after this, we got a quick interview between Roman Reigns and Michael Cole. We then also got one with Goldberg and Michael Cole. To be honest, I didn't really feel like much was really said. This was really just them both saying like, hey, I'm going to win this match. The best thing that Roman Reigns said in his promo was that he was going to Goldberg. And that was about it. Someone, Killer Mike 375 says, wait, what? Big E and Kofi Kingston lost? Yes, they did. They lost to Los Lotharios. Welcome to the post-show review. Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and move on from here. So after this, we continued on with Aaliyah and Natalya. They've been doing their feud over the Guinness World Records, and Aaliyah getting her 3.17 second victory on Natty. This has completely triggered Natty. Natty has completely forgotten all the rules of wrestling because she's getting counted out. She's losing in all of these really random, silly ways. So she challenges Aaliyah to a pinfall and submissions match only. This was probably the longest that I've ever seen Aaliyah wrestle. This was not terrible, but it wasn't like anything special. Natty won with the sharpshooter. After this, we continue what we've been seeing the last couple of weeks, which is a tease that Xia Li is essentially fed up with the way that Natalya is treating Aaliyah. So Xia Li basically comes out, she helps out Aaliyah and gives Natty a dirty look, and Natty's just like, there really isn't anything much else to say, guys. We're bound to get Natalya and Xia Li at some point. We also got a really nice video that was narrated by The Rock for his dad, Rocky Johnson, in honor of Black History Month. It was a really nice video, just kind of commemorating his entire career. Really, really liked it. I know The Rock put it up on his Twitter profile, so if you guys want to watch that video, it's up on his Twitter account. You guys can go ahead and check it out. Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and continue on, because after this, we got a segment from Insane. Shinsuke Nakamura is the guest, along with Rick Boogs, with Sami Zayn. And this is a little bit silly, but all the Insane segments really are a little bit silly. What we're seeing here is that next week we are going to be getting Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the Intercontinental Championship. And at this point, I can't even remember the last time the championship was defended. I know that people already had it out there in terms of like how many months and so it's been since the title has been defended. But they're officially going to be having their match next week. This ends up being a really quick segment in which Sami Zayn has them as a podcast guest. And Sami's basically telling Shinsuke that he's surprised he's even there because Shinsuke has been ducking him. And so this weird thing happens where Rick Boogs grabs the mic and he ends up getting like shocked by the microphone. And so he ends up like falling to the ground. And so Shinsuke goes to like aid Rick Boogs, who at one point Sami Zayn called Rick Boobs, and he goes to him to try to help him out. And so Sami obviously uses this as a way to like just kick Shinsuke Nakamura and leaves them both laying on the ground just there. We got a super chat, everybody. Thank you so much to Mike Parker, a good friend here of the show. Mike Parker says, Goldberg sounded like he was trying to do a Christian Bale Batman voice, extra growl. Goldberg was also in that Dodge commercial, by the way. I think that was the first time I saw that commercial. I don't know if it's like new, but today was the first day that I saw it. And keep in mind that I'm not usually in front of the computer for the commercials. I usually leave during commercials. But anyways, that was just something that came to mind. Thank you so much to Mike Parker for sending in this super chat. Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and continue on from here. So after this, we got Happy Corbin versus Cesaro. And people are always saying like, oh, we really want Cesaro, to be a top guy, And I'm like, yeah, I would like it too. But Cesaro has been slotted on the roster for such a long time. And it's things like this where you're like, down the line, if they try to do something with Cesaro, it's moments like this that it's why I cannot ever buy that they're going to do something serious with Cesaro. Because today, we had Cesaro lose to Happy Corbin. It was a decent little match. We saw a really nice springboard corkscrew uppercut from Cesaro, which he does, and it's always really nicely executed. Had to put that down. But Corbin ends up winning with the end of days, and it was a clean pin. Toodaloo, 1, 2, 3, and that's it. And so now Happy Corbin is doing this thing where he's undefeated. And I was like, is he undefeated? So I went to go check his record. He's not. He's undefeated as of this match. That's the latest, everybody. That's the latest. All right. So we got Darth Steven who says he feels bad for Cesaro. I do too. I think Cesaro is exciting. Like, I love, one of the things that we always see him do is always those uppercuts that he does. I love that. I love the big swing. I think if he had been, portrayed differently since like way back, he's definitely somebody that you could, rely on to be one of those top guys. And unfortunately, he's always been, a couple, slots below that, which is unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. We got Eric Luis who says Cesaro should go to NXT and kick ass. Cesaro, I think, could fit into this NXT 2.0. Like, I don't see why not. I mean, there's only so many options, but he's better off staying on SmackDown, though, and which is sad, though, because then he's just losing to Happy Corbin. I don't know where to put him, guys. There's nowhere to put him. That's it. But we got people saying that Cesaro is that's too good Cesaro's too good for this. He is. We got a comment from Random Rick Reviews who says Cesaro's great in the ring, but Mike's skills won't let him be a top guy. Alrighty. So after this, we got one more thing to talk about in regards to SmackDown, and then we are moving on to Rampage. And let's get into Naomi versus Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's Championship. This was a lot of fun, guys. This was so much fun. If you did not watch SmackDown, this is the only match that I would say, hey, go out of your way to actually check out. And the reason why I'm saying that is because there's always a lot of people, rooting for Naomi. There's always people saying like, man, like they never, push Naomi. She's somebody that could be a champion. She's so cool. She's so likable, blah, blah, blah. And while we have seen Naomi be athletic in so many different, moments, we've seen her do like really cool stuff, but I think that today was the first time in a long time where we actually really got to see her go at it in the ring with somebody, and with somebody like Charlotte Flair. You got two great competitors here, and this was so much fun. They gave Naomi so much here. They gave her a lot of different moments to shine. She was hitting all of her spots throughout this entire match. I think it was a long match too, so they gave them a lot of time. I don't know how long it was, but it felt like a good 20 minutes to me. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what it felt like. And so they basically gave her, a lot to do. She was getting over with the fans in terms of all of her moveset. People were popping for all of her spots, etc. And they also gave her a couple of hope spots during this. So the crowd was really starting to get behind Naomi and thinking that they might actually see a title change. And even though I knew that was definitely not going to happen, I was actually expecting Sonya Deville at some point to come out and maybe like try and hurt Charlotte Flair or something just so that Naomi could get screwed. But she didn't. She didn't get involved whatsoever during this match. They legitimately let Naomi go and have a legit good match with Charlotte Flair, and that's kind of what made this match feel extra special. They did everything to get the crowd behind Naomi, and they made you kind of see Naomi in a different light. And so I personally like that. There was a moment where she hit the blockbuster and she went for the pin, and people really bought it. Dude, even I bought it for like a split second. I thought, oh man, is this it? It was not. We got This Is Awesome chants, really good stuff. She did multiple split-legged moonsaults. I think she did 2 of them. She went for the pins, but it was a bunch of near falls, so that didn't end up working out. In the end, we do see Charlotte get the win, which is what, we were expecting. And it was a clean pin, a clean victory, which it should be because Charlotte's a very dominant champion. But either way, it was a good match, and like it made me get excited for Naomi. Like it really, really did. Let's see. After the match, though, we do see Sonya get in the ring. She gets in the face of Naomi, trying to like taunt her. And so Naomi snaps and she literally just starts going off on Sonya and starts punching her like multiple times, numerous times to Sonya Deville. And then afterwards, Charlotte ends up joining in along on the attack with Sonya. And so they're both attacking Naomi. And then out of nowhere, Ronda Rousey comes out. Ronda Rousey comes running in, and she ends up, going at it with both girls, ends up saving Naomi. And so from the looks of it, this was reported earlier by Fightful Select that they are looking to essentially do Naomi and Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte and Sonya at Elimination Chamber. So from the looks of what happened tonight, that is most likely, probably bound to happen. So we'll see. We'll see if the official announcement is made. But from the looks of it, that's where we're headed. Alrighty, guys. Any last thoughts on SmackDown? You guys can go ahead and send them in, and then we'll go ahead and jump into Rampage. But I kind of people say like everybody's talking about Goldberg. Oh, Pony Wrestling since they already confirmed it on Twitter. Did they already confirm it on Twitter? I had not seen that. Jesus Christ, this always happens. All right, hold on 1 second, guys. Let me go to WWE's. They did 49 minutes ago, and I was watching Rampage, so I did not see it. All right, so it is confirmed. Ronda Rousey and Naomi will be facing Charlotte and Sonya Deville at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia. So it is official. Ta-da! All right, let's go ahead and jump into Rampage, everybody, because we do got a couple of things to talk about. Also, for those of you guys who are here, if you are first-time viewers, I'm going to take this opportunity to let you guys all know that if you want to catch more of my reviews and you're like, Denise, when are you on? Well, I'll tell you. I'm live on Tuesdays for NXT 2.0. That's usually a fun show. Wednesdays, I'm here for AEW Dynamite. That's my most popular show of the week, especially if so much is going on. Things get very, very busy. Fridays, I'm here chilling, talking about SmackDown and Rampage. This is my most chill, my most relaxed show of the week. But let's get into Rampage. We got the Young Bucks versus Roppongi Vice, Trent Beretta, and Rocky Romero. So let's go ahead and see what do we want to talk about in regards to this. This was a fun opening match. I thought that for given that it's Rampage and given the type of match that I was expecting, I think that it fell in line with my expectations. Like, obviously, if this was, on a bigger platform, I do think that this match could have been just a little bit more. But regardless, it's the opening match on Rampage, so what they did was fine. But we essentially have the Bucks in the beginning of this match pretend that they're walking out, pretend that they're leaving. This causes Trent and Rocky to kind of pursue them. And so as they're pursuing them, the Young Bucks end up super kicking the both of them, dropping them on the ramp area, and they run back to the ring and they try to get them counted out. And for a split second, I'm thinking, please do not let this be the finish. Please do not let them get counted out in this super dorky way. They did not, but good tease, man, because I think Rocky waited until the final split second to make it back into the ring and not get counted out. But I swear to God, for a good second, I really thought that they were going to actually end it here. So they played it off really well there. They kind of fooled me for a second. We saw a bunch of, awesome spots. Nick Jackson doing a moonsault on both guys. Then we get to see Orange Cassidy go under the ring. He hides underneath the ring, and out of nowhere, we see a little hands come out, kind of doing this, and the Bucks pull him out, and it's Danhausen. So Danhausen appears from underneath the ring, and he's doing this and doing that. And, Chris Jericho's going crazy on commentary saying, don't curse us, don't curse us. You know how Chris Jericho is. So he's yelling up a storm about how he doesn't want Danhausen to curse them. This allows, Roppongi Vice to essentially, go over the top rope, take out the Bucks, and so they end up going to commercial break. After this, when we come back, we see Trent hit a nice DDT. We see a couple of strikes from Rocky Romero to Matt Jackson. He rolls him up, tries to get the win, but it's a near fall. Afterwards, we see what was my favorite spot of this match, and that was Trent Beretta going to the top rope and hitting the German suplex avalanche from the top. That was so much fun to see. I legitimately marked out, especially because right after that, he goes for the strong zero, tries to go for the pin, and it's another near fall. So that was a really nice little sequence that we got there. After this, for the finish, we end up seeing a super kick from the Bucks to Rocky Romero, and then the BTE trigger, and then they end up getting the win here. But we really need to talk about is the post-match action that we saw here. So post-match, we end up seeing Orange Cassidy hit the orange punch on Brandon Cutler. They had this little face-off there. And then we see Trent Beretta get back in the ring, and we kind of have this visual of Trent Beretta, looking down towards the camera. And then out of nowhere, Jay White appears immediately behind him, and this is the first time we're seeing Jay White in an actual audience setting, because he did make his debut on Wednesday, but that was backstage when he essentially attacked Roppongi Vice and threw them onto the freaking production truck. So that was cool and all, but this time we got to see them, with the people, getting in the vibe, soaking up that energy. And Jay White essentially hits the Blade Runner on Trent Beretta. He hits the Blade Runner, and you kind of sense, and we've already kind of, sensed this last week, but the Young Bucks did tell Adam Cole that, hey, next time you have one of your, friends coming over, like, give us a warning. And Adam Cole basically said, like, you can trust him. Like, you can trust him, right? But today, when we saw Jay White, and there was a moment where, like, you can still see that the Young Bucks don't really have like a good gut feeling about Jay White. Like, there's a little bit of like, they're not really, on the same page here. And so you sense that after this match. So it's like, what really is going on here? We'll find out, but it's like the way that Jay White has been coming in to essentially like seemingly like he has their back almost feels like he doesn't really have their back, but who knows? Who knows? Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and get some comments in here. What did you guys think about this show here? I mean, this moment. All right, let's see what people are saying in the chat here. And let's see if we got any comments on this one. We're gonna go ahead and get some of these in here. Our rig says, breathe with the switchblade. And we'll talk about, I might as well mention it now. So they did announce that we are going to be getting Jay White in his first official match in AEW against Trent Beretta. Now, here's the thing about this. Like, this is interesting. Like, they have worked together in the past before. We've seen matches with them in the past before. But, Trent Beretta and Jay White were always, on different levels. Jay White was obviously, higher up, seen differently in New Japan. So it is going to be interesting to get to see this matchup here on a different stage. So I know a lot of people are really looking forward to it. Like, the second that I put that this match was happening on Twitter, every single comment that I saw was literally people just like freaking out about this match happening. So I was like, all right, cool. The interest is high. So this is going to, hopefully be a good match. Trent Beretta, like the last, since returning to AEW, he's really been like on a hot streak where I feel like he's been pretty impressive. His matches have been solid. He's been standing out. So for me, like, based on that, I'm excited to see this match with him and Jay White, literally just based on what we've been seeing from Trent Beretta recently in AEW. So, really excited about that one there. And all right, let's go ahead and get some comments in here. And this one is from Pro Wrestling Fan, who says, great week for King Switchblade. Next week, he's facing Trent on Rampage, and on Impact, him and GOD are facing Violent by Design. And next Saturday, he's facing Eric Young. Jesus Christ, man, racking up those freaking matches. Thank you so much for sharing this, Pro Wrestling Fan. Alrighty, everybody, let's go ahead and continue on. So after this, we got Ricky Starks essentially announcing that Powerhouse Hobbs will be facing Dante Martin in the Face of the Revolution ladder match. Now, here's where I want to ask you guys. Who do you think should win this? Because Powerhouse Hobbs is freaking awesome, right? And I know a lot of people want to see him in that match with Keith Lee, kind of have like their moment, in the ring together, two big guys doing big guy things. That could be fun. But I want to see Dante Martin. At the end of the day, it's going to be a ladder match. And I want to see Dante Martin go in there and literally, hit all of these awesome spots. And Keith Lee tossing Dante Martin, like, that would be freaking phenomenal. So I do think that all of that is going to be pretty exciting. So even though I like Hobbs, and I really do think that it would be important to have Hobbs in this match, I'm personally going to side with Dante Martin. I think that he needs to be in this match for sure. I think he will add like so much fun with all of his, aerial ability. It's going to be a good time. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get some comments in on here. This one is from Danny Boy, who says, Hobbs is going to win this. Keith Lee versus Hobbs is in the works, I believe. I mean, it would be a fun match. And like we mentioned that, but I just really do think that Dante Martin is the one that should be in this. I think he's just going to add what you want to see in a ladder match. Our rig says probably get a mix of styles, so Dante is his pick. And Andrew Cook also picks Dante. We got Cameron Mumford, who says Starks will definitely cost Dante the match, so he believes that it's going to be Hobbs. And we got people saying that Hobbs is going to do the job again, so that it might be Dante. So it kind of feels like people are a little bit 50-50 here in terms of which direction they might head into with this one here. Alrighty, after this, let's see what we got, guys. After this, we got a really funny promo actually by Bryan Danielson. So Bryan Danielson is addressing the offer that he made Jon Moxley to essentially team up together and mentor and like start their own thing and mentor all the young guys on AEW. So he basically says, quote, I know the people want, like, he says that he knows that the people want him to be bothered, right? But he says, quote, I love this. He says, my offer and CM Punk's offer are two entirely different things. I want a long-term relationship to help build AEW, and what Moxley got with CM Punk on Wednesday was just a one-night stand. As you all know, Jon Moxley and CM Punk teamed up this Wednesday to face FTR, and that was such a, cool match and all of that. But I really like this relationship reference that that Bryan Danielson made. That was absolutely hilarious. And we ended up getting a match made out of this. So if you guys recall, during that offer from Bryan Danielson to Jon Moxley, he was basically telling him he buried every single champion on AEW and basically said that Jon Moxley was better and on a different level than all of those people and that none of those people should be champions, right? And then he starts saying how they should mentor all of these young guys on AEW. And one of the guys that he mentions is Lee Moriarty. And Matt Sydal comes in, rightfully so, pissed off at Bryan Danielson, basically saying why the hell did you tell me, why the hell did you say that Lee Moriarty should leave and abandon my mentorship? And I love this because I'm like, if your name was brought up during this promo and you have not addressed it, it makes me think you should be defending yourself, This was the same thing when CM Punk and MJF were bringing up Britt Baker and we never heard from Britt Baker until months later addressed that. It's one of those things where I'm like, if your name is brought up, you should be addressing this immediately. So I love that Matt Sydal got in his face, addressed him over it, and Lee Moriarty's on the sideline basically going what the hell? Both of you stop talking I'm not in the room. Bryan, I'm going to show you violence, and basically challenges them to a match. So I kind of liked how this essentially furthered, what's going on with Moxley and Bryan Danielson, but also, set up a match between Bryan and Lee Moriarty, while also giving Matt Sydal some dignity. So it accomplished a bunch of little things here. So I like this. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get some thoughts in here and let's see what people are saying. And Zeno Howard says Bryan Danielson is monogamous. Oh God. And Jesus. I didn't even expect to read that one, but it was actually pretty funny. We got Killer Mike 375 says great promo from Bryan tonight. The show was pretty good tonight. It was a decent, pretty decent show, everybody. Alrighty, everyone, we're gonna go ahead and continue. But before we do, just a friendly reminder: if you are watching live, feel free to take part in the chat. You are more than welcome to send in your thoughts and opinions, and I will be reading them as we kind of go throughout this entire show. Lord Pelagius says, I also liked how proud Sydal looked when Lee stood up for himself. Yeah, even Bryan Danielson was proud. Everybody was proud there. So good stuff there. Alrighty, everybody, let's go ahead and get into Britt Baker versus Robin Renegade. So I kind of mentioned this last week, but I've been getting to see Robin Renegade work with her sister Charlotte in Mission Pro. They are the Mission Pro Tag Team Champions, and I've gotten to call now, I believe, 3 of their matches. And so I was very happy when I saw that Robin was essentially getting her AEW Rampage debut. This was such a big moment for her. So this was really cool to kind of see what they were going to have her do, how much they were actually going to give her. And I think that they gave her a really nice spotlight here on Rampage. And this was essentially this was a pretty okay match. We essentially see Robin at one point. She tries to double knee Britt Baker, but Britt Baker literally moves out of the way. And so that kind of backfires on Robin. We end up going to picture in picture, and throughout the entire time in picture, Britt Baker is, basically working on her the entire time. So she's pretty much got the upper hand throughout the entire picture in picture break. We come back and we end up seeing Britt Baker get the win with the stomp to Robin Renegade. So I will say this, like, they gave Robin like just enough for her to be, highlighted as this, I know she's been doing Dark and all of that, but in terms of the AEW Rampage and the audiences that only watch, Rampage and probably don't watch Dark, it was a really nice introduction, I think, for Robin Renegade. In terms of like other people, I think that she got a good spotlight there. But the other thing that I'm thinking too is just like, we'll get into the post-match stuff too. I'm wondering, though, if they're going to bring in and do more with the Renegade Twins and Thunder Rosa, because basically what happened after this match makes me feel like Thunder Rosa needs some friends. She needs some backup because she's kind of alone here. We got a super chat from Cameron Mumford who says, AEW must sign the Renegade Twins and Hayter versus Martinez, shut up and take my money. Let's talk about that. So post-match, we see Britt Baker lock in the lockjaw on Robin Renegade. So, Robin Renegade's already lost this match. She's tapping out, and Thunder Rosa runs in and basically just like hauls ass and jumps on Britt Baker, starts punching her left and right. And I love this. I was like, hell yeah, like this is good. This is what we want to see, two major stars. We already know the history between Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, and we know that they've been, restarting to set up this feud, kind of like get it going once again the last couple of, shows. So anyways, so she's, going at it with Britt Baker, and Jamie Hayter comes out, gets Britt Baker's back. So obviously now it's 2-on-1. And then afterwards we see Mercedes Martinez come out, and there's this moment where Jamie Hayter is just like stomping on Thunder Rosa, and Mercedes Martinez starts kind of like, she kind of like pushes, but she kind of moves Jamie Hayter out of the way so that she could get in and get a couple of shots in on Thunder Rosa. And so then you start to get this tension between Jamie and Jamie and Mercedes Martinez, where they're both wanting to get their hands on Thunder Rosa, but they can't both do it. So it's one of those things where it's like they kind of get into each other's face until Britt Baker gets in the way and kind of breaks that up. So I love this because we already know that, Mercedes Martinez was essentially, trying to do a favor for Britt Baker by taking out Thunder Rosa. So kind of seeing like all of this, I mentioned this before, but we're going to get hopefully different layers to this in terms of we're working our way towards Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. But before that, there's still so much. There's still Thunder Rosa and Mercedes Martinez and Jamie Hayter, Mercedes Martinez and Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. Like there is a lot here that can be done like for a period of time until we finally get that aha moment between Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa once again for the AEW Women's World Championship. So that should be a good time here. And all right, here we go. We got Pile Driver finishes a shout out to Persistence. Alrighty, let's go ahead and continue on, everybody. So after this, we got a couple more things to talk about. Before I do, though, just a friendly reminder, if you haven't already, over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo, I have not one, but two brand new interviews, one with Leyla and one with Mickie James. Those interviews are so freaking awesome. I'm not even going to lie to you, all right? So with Mickie James, we talk about her appearing on the Royal Rumble, and she gives her legitimate honest opinion as to why she said yes. She talks about how WWE approached Impact Wrestling, how they then basically came up with their terms as to whether or not, Mickie James was going to agree. But Mickie James had already, she was like saying yes right off the bat. And she kind of talks about her reasonings as to why. And a lot of that has to do with the trash bag incident. As you guys all recall, the trash bag incident with her stuff essentially getting sent to her in a trash bag and her posting it on Twitter. But she basically said, that was such something that she put out there and she doesn't regret it because changes were made. But at the exact same time, all people wanted to talk about. And it seems like all people remembered about her and her time with WWE was that trash bag incident. So Mickie James basically tells me like she prayed for an opportunity to essentially not have that be the last thing that people remember between her and WWE. So she wanted an opportunity to have people remember something else, which is why she wanted to jump at the opportunity of appearing at the Royal Rumble. So she really breaks that all down and a really good conversation. And then afterwards, in my interview with Leyla, that one's really interesting too, because she is, coming back after, X amount of years that she's been gone in terms of like having an actual, singles match, a competitive singles match. So she talks about that. She talks about, training once again, coming back and doing the Royal Rumble. She basically told me that immediately after the Royal Rumble was when she found out that, or when she was given the offer to essentially wrestle Becky Lynch. Like Lita tells me she wasn't even out of her gear yet. Like she was still sweating and, cleaning herself up when she found out that she would be getting this opportunity to wrestle Becky Lynch. So it's pretty interesting to see how fast these decisions were made. And, she talks about her feelings in terms of performing as a woman in Saudi Arabia. So she does touch on that too. It's a really good conversation. You can check that out on youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. But now let's go ahead and get into this Leyla Hirsch promo that we got on AEW Rampage. I don't really I've been a fan of Leyla Hirsch, right? From what we've seen on AEW, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't recall hearing very many of her promos on Rampage or Dynamite. Like she's been coming down, she's been having, little moments here and there, right? And, these matches that I've been enjoying from her here and there. But I felt like this was the first time I really actually heard her talk. Like for the first time, like this was I don't know. It just, for me, this was the first time I got to get a little bit more in terms of like, who is Leyla Hirsch, right? So she kind of talks about, and I don't know much of Layla's background. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't know hardly anything about Leyla. All I know is what I've seen from her on AEW, Dynamite, or Rampage, right? And she starts talking about how, her life struggles and all of this, but her cadence and her tone and her delivery, it's good. Like, it was better than I expected from her during this promo. She's talking about how, when she was a kid, she was praying to get adopted in Russia. And I'm like, what? I didn't even know any of this. So, she mentions this. And then Chris Statlander, who she's been feuding with, they've been doing their little back and forth. Chris basically tells her, you don't have any rights. We all have struggles. You don't know my struggles and what I did to get here, etc. Don't undermine me and what I've been through. And dude, I really liked this. I have been feeling their feud, and this promo kind of did it a little bit more for me, where I learned a little bit here. I learned about Leyla. I learned about Leyla in the terms of maybe a little bit of her background, but also just that she can actually get very serious and deliver, a tough cookie promo. I don't know how else to say it. It was good stuff. Adby Devin says, Leyla was good. Leyla has a good speaking voice. And yeah, Leyla feels like a babyface in this. No, she doesn't feel like a babyface in this. No, she doesn't feel like a babyface. She's definitely a heel in this, especially everything that, transpired prior to this. But she's definitely the heel, but it's still the way that she incorporated her real life struggle into this, basically saying she deserves this more because this is what she went through. Shit, I love this. I really, really did. So that was good stuff there. Really like that. Some Pile Driver says was kind of out of nowhere. For Leyla Hirsch, yeah, she kind of just came out of nowhere with them. And let's see what else we got here. William Santoro says Chris took it too far by saying her parents should have left her. No, I don't think that was too far. I think it's just it's just part of it, guys. It's part of it. Part of the story here. And Andrew Cook says, watch her unrestricted interview. She tells her whole backstory. I might, because I legitimately did not know any of that. And that sounds very, very interesting to me. Very, very interesting. Sean Williams says Leyla Hirsch was on AEW Unscripted podcast. Okay, so everybody watched that except me. Damn it. All right. Killer Mike says, I haven't been a fan of the Statlander versus Hirsch rivalry, but this video package was great, turned it around for me. Yep, it really added a lot. They've been doing, the attacks and all of that. That's been like okay, but this video package I think was the best thing that they've definitely done. Definitely done. Alrighty, guys, here we go. Let's go ahead and continue on. And this one is, let's see what we got after this. We got Hook versus Blake Lee, everybody. Hook, everybody's favorite. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. We got Hook versus Blake Lee, and this was a lot of fun here. Quickly, we see Blake try to take down Hook, so he looks like he comes in here with a strategy, tries to take him down, but Hook capitalizes on that and gets him in a quarter Nelson rather quickly. Afterwards, he gets like in this, zone and starts punching him in the midsection of Blake Lee, ends up getting him with a headbutt, really aggressive from Hook, hits him with an El Camino. Hook tosses Blake. He's literally just beating the crap out of him here. QT Marshall tries to distract him, but this essentially allows Blake to go to the ropes and but Hook literally to the top rope, but Hook literally just moves out of the way. I really love that spot, by the way, where Hook's just like, nah, bro, I knew that was happening. You ain't getting one on me, and just backs away. That was really fun. And then for the win, we see him win with the red rum, gets the win there. Thank you so much to Hagen, who sends in a super chat, who says, TK sent Hook for my birthday. Happy birthday, Hagen. Thank you so much for coming on here for your birthday, man. Happy birthday. Thank you so much for the super chat. And you did get Hook for your birthday. All right, guys, let's go ahead and continue on. So after this, let's go over the matches that have been announced for Dynamite next week and also the Rampage matches. So for Dynamite this coming Wednesday, we are getting they said the Inner Circle explodes because we're getting the match between freaking Hager and Jericho against Santana and Ortiz. For a second, I forgot what the actual match was. I was like, what's the match? All right, so there we go. We're going to get that match. Finally, you guys, if you were here on my Wednesday show, you know that I've been waiting for this. So I'm excited for this, and I want to see it end. But let's see if the Peacemaker, Sammy Guevara, does something to, not make it happen. We'll see. I don't know. Anyways, that'll be very fun. We're also getting another Face of the Revolution qualifying match. And that is going to be Wardlow versus Max Caster. I'm definitely expecting to see Wardlow get the win here. Thunder Rosa versus Mercedes Martinez in a no DQ match. That's the match that I'm most looking forward to. I think that they're going to go out there and really give it their all because these are both two competitors that are going to want to prove themselves, especially on such a big stage like Dynamite. So I'm looking forward to that one. We're also getting Lee Moriarty versus Bryan Danielson. I think that's going to be a fun match. And for the TNT Championship, Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara. Darby Allin has been saying that he's going to go after the title, and here he is. Will he be TNT champion once again? This is going to be interesting too because I don't think Darby should be taking L's, but I also don't think that it's time for Sammy to lose the championship. So we will see. And I'm expecting Andrade to get involved somehow. Something has to happen with that whole thing. So expect that as well. And lastly, AEW on Rampage next Friday is having a special start time. So instead of starting immediately after SmackDown, it's starting an hour before SmackDown. So we're getting Trent Beretta versus Jay White. All right, for some reason. And then we're also getting Dante Martin versus Powerhouse Hobbs. So a lot of good stuff, guys. All right, let's go ahead and continue on to the main event. Main event, it was all right, guys. I didn't think it was like an OMG main event, to be honest. It was all right. It was the Gun Club, Austin Colton versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. This was really all just Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, guys. To me, they made this match worth it. They went in there. Once Luchasaurus got the hot tag is when the match really started to, kind of pick up speed a little bit here. Some of the cool moments that we saw, Jungle Boy hitting a front forward flip over the top rope. That was nice. Inside the ring, Luchasaurus hits a standing moonsault press. He did that. Jungle Boy does a tope, but he accidentally ends up hitting Luchasaurus. So that almost kind of put a little bit of a damper on their momentum. Afterwards, we see Colton try to cheat by using the ropes to his advantage. He gets caught by Christian. This ends up causing a little bit of like outside friction between Billy and Christian Cage, who are on the outside. They end up causing a distraction. So the referee is paying attention to what's going on with Christian and Billy on the outside. And Jungle Boy gets hit in the face with the belts, with the tag team championship. And for a second, you think that this is going to be over, but you know it's not going to be over. It's not going to happen. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus end up getting the win here in this match. And it was an okay match. I didn't think it was that great, honestly. But it was fine. Nothing much else to say about that. And Ken Boy says, Denise, what was wrong with the butt boys? I'm sorry. Like, they're okay. They're just I like them. Everybody likes, the ass boys, right? But they're just they're a little bit too generic for me. I need a little bit more, guys. I need a little bit more sizzle and spice. So I'm still not completely on board. They didn't really do anything for me in this match. So that was about it. I didn't feel anything. Absolutely nothing. Sean Williams says, I actually wanted ass boys to win. No. Devin says, I'm sorry, but butt boys might be funnier. I don't know. I think ass boys is funnier because it makes more sense to say ass boys versus the other way. Versus the other way. It's alrighty, let me go ahead and see if anybody else has any thoughts on this. Before I go, so if you guys want to get any last and final thoughts, go ahead and send them in. But before I go, I will see you guys back here on Tuesday for NXT, Wednesday Dynamite, and Friday I'll be here once again for my chillest show of the week, SmackDown and Rampage. Please, guys, head on over to youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. Check out those interviews with Leyla and Mickie James. Also, if you haven't already and you're new to this video, you're new here to F4W, please make sure to click that subscribe button. Give this video a like. And you can also follow me on Twitter and or on Instagram @_Denise Salcedo. But until next time, I want you guys to have an awesome weekend, everybody. I'll see you guys next Tuesday or on Tuesday. Bye, everybody.